basically, the recruiting process. So let's start here. So basically, there's what we would consider like a breakaway, breakaway groups, advanced groups on this planet that are outside of the public eye, and they are operating, behind the scenes, so to speak. So the recruiting system for that used to be very complicated, and it took more than several years. Basically, for me, it started out, in university, being recruited or asked to do a kind of conventional job. And then you get confronted with certain evidence that show that ET realities are real. There is, of course, other life forms in the universe. There's life on different layers of the universe, and you get confronted with that without even knowing that you're tested, basically. And then the recruiting, it gets everyone looks how you respond, how you react, how you behave. And then you basically go down the rabbit hole. So that used to be the recruiting system. And let me say this, because nowadays we have the Space Force in the US. We have a lot of different other space forces around the planet that are publicly out there, and you can Google them. They are just not in the mainstream media, but they are there. So the recruitment system has been modernized by a lot.
Ask you, because I never heard that part of your story, and maybe you've told it. The recruitment kind of formality is done by inside government people, or is it a connection to ET races that are recruiting you?
So basically, these advanced groups are loosely connected to the official public side of what's going on the planet. So basically, you have like a normal operational job, but you also get asked to do certain tasks, but not on your first day of in the job. So it takes like 4 or 5 years. It used to take 4 or 5 years in order to slowly get into more and more complicated and exotic, is the term, exotic projects.
I mean, you don't have to name names and we don't have to go, but it's government, but are they recruiting people to be the interface between the humans and the ETs? Is that what the recruitment process is for?
Ultimately, yes. It wasn't in my case. So basically, in my case, you do standard regular job, and you get asked to perform certain missions, tasks, operations that they start really boring in the beginning, and this goes on for 3-4 years until you get mixed in certain evidences that is proof to the existence of other life forms. And basically the test is, how do you react? Because there's different parameters that need to be checked, that used to basically they still need to be checked, which is your liability, your trustworthiness, but it's also your psychic or your psychological capabilities to handle certain situations.
Is there a moment when you said, oh, this is about a much bigger picture, this is about this other reality? I just want to know, like, what happens to people like you working, and then like the revelations, like, or maybe it's not a revelation, but it's outside what we think reality is like, and maybe you were being primed for that. So I'm just curious, was there a moment of awakening?
Interesting. No, I wouldn't say so. At least not in my case. So basically, so gradually, you get, confronted with a lot of evidence. At first, it begins with, just this little hint in some kind of documentary, or documents, or certain experiments where you get invited to just be like just watch just, you know, and some of them are boring, some of them are more exciting. So there's no moment where you just think like, wow, what's happening? So this came later, I would say. So basically the psychological impact happens first. So sometime you are so deep in the system that you really have trouble getting out there, actually. So because you're so isolated in some kind of way, so you cannot talk to anyone, which I didn't do for 15 years, and you and it's hard to handle these psychological impacts that you have, and then you might come to the realization what's happening with my life, and yeah, in my case, I always was a strong, you know, advocate for transparency, and I still believe, and I do think that the smart people in those advanced groups, they are smart enough to know, and we see that around the planet, that disclosure is necessary. Actually, there are certain reasons for that.